The Lights That Never Turned Off. Chapter 1. The Glow Beneath the Door. It began on a Tuesday night. I was brushing my teeth when I noticed the soft golden light pooling beneath my bedroom door. It wasn't unusual, except I had already turned my bedroom light off. I was sure of it. I stared at it for a few seconds, then slowly pushed the door open. The room was lit, yes, but not by the overhead bulb or my desk lamp. The glow was coming from the closet. A steady amber warmth spilled out from beneath the door frame like a furnace at rest. The rest of the room sat in silence, untouched. I stood at the edge of the light, unsure whether to move forward. The closet door was closed, yet light pulsed from under it, softly, like it was breathing. I flicked the switch by my bed just to be sure. Nothing changed. The ceiling light stayed off. This glow was coming from somewhere else. I crept toward the closet, every step cautious, my heart beat louder than my breath. The moment my fingers reached the handle, the glow dimmed, just slightly, as if it knew I was watching. I yanked the door open. Nothing. The closet was filled with the usual: hanging jackets, old toys, a box of winter clothes. The glow vanished the second the door swung open. I reached in and felt around. No bulbs, no hidden flashlight. No warmth. But I swear, just before I closed the door, I felt a tiny breeze against my hand. Not cool, not cold, warm, like breath. That night I kept the door shut, but as I lay in bed, I saw it again, that soft glow, leaking out from beneath the door. And this time, it pulsed. Once, twice, like it was waiting for me to come back. I got up once more and placed a book flush against the door's base, hoping it would block whatever was leaking through. It didn't. Instead, the glow stretched around its slim beams, curling around the corners, like tendrils of fog that knew every crevice. I sat on my bed, knees to my chest, whispering to myself that it was nothing, just leftover electricity, just my imagination. But deep down, I knew better, because the air smelled different now, not like my room, not like dust or wood or linen. It smelled like summer heat on pavement, like childhood. And in that moment, something else happened. The closet door creaked, not open, just a single low sound, like a sigh. And in the silence that followed, I heard something I hadn't heard in years. A lullaby, hummed low, familiar, one my mother used to sing before she stopped singing altogether. And the glow, steadier now, pulsed once more. I didn't sleep much that night, but I kept watching, and the light kept waiting. Chapter 2. Bulbs That Burn Through Sleep. That night I barely slept, not because of nightmares or noises, but because of the light. Even with my eyes shut tight, it pressed against my eyelids like a dull sun. I tossed, turned, pulled the pillow over my face, but still it was there. A soft, steady pressure of brightness. Not enough to see clearly, but enough to feel. By morning, I was exhausted. My mom noticed. She asked if I'd stayed up on my phone again. I lied and said yes. It was easier than explaining that my closet was glowing like it had swallowed the moon. That day at school, my eyes burned. I kept blinking, trying to flush the tiredness away. During math class, I swear I saw a flicker of that same golden hue in the corner of the room. But when I turned, nothing was there, just the whiteboard and the droning of the lesson. When I got home, I went straight to my room. The closet door was shut, but the light underneath was brighter now, more insistent. It stretched further across the carpet, almost reaching my bed. I stood there for minutes staring at it, unsure what to do. Eventually, I taped a towel to the bottom of the door to block it out. That night, I turned off my room lights and lay in bed. The towel glowed. The light bled through the fabric, warm and flickering like fire behind paper. I checked the switch again. It still did nothing. And when I finally drifted off, despite the light, I dreamed I was underwater. Not drowning, but floating, surrounded by a soft golden haze. Something touched my ankle, gentle but firm. I didn't see what it was, only that it pulsed with light. I woke up sweating. The closet door was wide open, but the light was gone. Chapter 3: The Flicker That Spoke My Name. The next night, I tried not to look at the closet. I told myself it was over, a trick of the wiring, maybe I'd imagined it all. But when darkness fell, the closet glowed again. Not softly this time, not like a breath. It flickered, sharp, erratic pulses like a dying bulb, except it wasn't connected to any power. I had checked, and it wasn't just the glow, it was the pattern. One long pulse, two short, then three in quick succession. I don't know why, but it felt deliberate, like code. I sat up in bed and stared at it. My heart was beating too fast, too loud. I grabbed a notebook and started sketching the flickers. They didn't repeat exactly, but they had a rhythm, a language. And then it happened. In the middle of the flickering, one long, two short, came a pause. A deeper silence than before, and from within that silence, my name. Soft, whispered, familiar. Not like someone was calling me from across the room, but like the room itself had said it. Liam. I dropped the notebook. It slid across the floor toward the closet, the paper catching the glow. I didn't move. I barely breathed. The light pulsed once more, slow, wide, and then stopped. The room was dark again, but I knew I hadn't imagined it, because the air still trembled, and my name still echoed in my ears. And when I picked up the notebook in the morning, the last line I had scribbled down wasn't mine. It said, "You heard me." Chapter 4: When Shadows Stopped Moving. It was the fourth night, and for the first time the shadows weren't there. Not that they had disappeared entirely, but they had stopped behaving like shadows should. I noticed it while lying in bed, eyes half closed, staring at the pattern of light bleeding from under the closet door. Usually my bookshelf cast a long diagonal shadow. My chair made a stubby one. But now they were still, too still. There was no flicker, no shifting with the hallway breeze, no subtle sway when I moved. They just stopped, like the light had swallowed the movement from the room. I got up, slowly, the hairs on my arms already rising before my feet hit the floor. I waved my hand across the lamp on my nightstand. Nothing. The bulb was off. But the glow from the closet was brighter than ever, like a stage light casting everything in unnatural detail. I walked over to the wall and gently tapped the switch. Nothing happened. Then again, off, on, off. Still nothing. The shadows stayed fixed, flat, silent. Then I moved my hand in front of the closet. No shadow. My heart dropped. I did it again, waved it left, then right. No shape followed. And then the closet door opened an inch. No creak, just the smooth motion of something practiced, something patient. And inside, not light, not dark either, just that same golden hue, now so dense it looked like fog. The shadows behind me shifted suddenly. Not in response to me, but in response to it. The glow began to stretch across the ceiling, bending around objects, as if choosing what to touch. And that's when I understood. The shadows hadn't stopped moving because of fear. They had stopped moving because they were listening. Chapter 5. The light that followed me to school. I didn't want to go to school that morning. After what happened the night before, the frozen shadows, the golden fog, I wanted to stay home and pretend it was a fever dream. But I couldn't explain it to anyone, so I kept quiet. As I walked to the bus stop, the sunlight felt different, warmer. Not in the comforting way, but as if something was trailing just behind me, mimicking the sun's glow but slightly off. Too close. On the ride to school, I sat by the window, headphones in, pretending to listen to music. That's when I noticed it. My reflection was off. The other kids looked normal in the glass. But around my head, just behind me, there was a faint halo, gold, flickering, like the closet light had followed me. At school, the lights in the hallway buzzed louder when I passed. Some flickered as I walked under them, blinking in sync with the rhythm I had written in my notebook the night before. One long, two short, three quick. By lunchtime, I was sweating. The overhead lights in the cafeteria felt brighter above me than anyone else. My tray glowed faintly under them. Even the water in my cup caught it, an amber shimmer swirling at the surface. Then came the voice. Not out loud, inside, like an echo moving through the air in my chest, bypassing my ears entirely. Did you leave me? I stood too fast, spilling my drink. Kids stared. I left my tray and walked out. In the hallway mirror by the bathroom, I checked my reflection again. The light was behind my eyes. It blinked once, slow and deliberate, and I realized I hadn't left the light behind. It had chosen to come with me. Chapter 6. The bathroom mirror never went dark. That night, I avoided my bedroom. I told my mom I had a stomach ache and lingered in the bathroom for longer than usual. It felt safer, at least it had. I closed the door behind me, flicked off the overhead light, and just sat on the closed toilet seat. The dim nightlight by the sink cast a soft glow on the mirror. But that wasn't the light that caught my attention. It was the glow inside the mirror. At first I thought it was a trick of the reflection. Maybe the hall light was bleeding through the crack under the door. But no, the glow wasn't coming from behind me. It was coming from inside the glass. Ember, faint, pulsing, and then it flickered just like the closet. 1 long, 2 short, 3 quick. The same pattern. I leaned closer, my breath fogging the glass. The glow didn't waver. It stared back, unwavering, like it was waiting. And then my reflection blinked, but I hadn't. I fell back against the tub, heart pounding. I stared into the mirror again. Now both reflections, mine and the glow, moved in sync, until I whispered, "What are you?" And my reflection mouthed it after me. Not with me, after me, like an echo finally catching up. I got up and turned on the sink, trying to shake the unease, splashing cold water on my face. But the mirror fogged again, this time faster. A shape began to emerge, not my own, just behind the glass, vague and tall, a figure made of haze and light flickering faintly. I leaned closer again, and this time the figure moved before I did. Its hand reached up and pressed against the inside of the mirror, 5 glowing fingers. They didn't match mine. They were longer, thin, delicate. I raised my hand hesitantly and mirrored it, her fingertips aligned, and suddenly I felt warmth, not against my skin, but inside it. My breath caught, my chest tightened. Then the figure leaned in, its eyes now visible, 2 soft orbs of amber light, not threatening, not kind, just knowing. It mouthed words I couldn't hear, but I recognized the shape of them. "You remember me?" I stepped back. The light surged, then dimmed. The mirror fogged again. I reached out and wiped it with my palm. The glow was gone, but etched into the mirror's surface, where the condensation had parted, were 5 words. I never stopped watching you. Chapter 7. I saw someone in the ceiling light. By now, I had stopped looking for normal. The glowing closet, the flickering mirrors, the humming hallway lights, they had all become part of my reality. But nothing prepared me for what I saw that night. I was lying in bed, trying to read by flashlight. I didn't dare use the actual room light anymore. The glow had a way of creeping into everything it touched. Then the flashlight flickered. Not dead batteries, not a glitch. It flickered in rhythm, 1 long, 2 short, 3 quick. I threw it down and looked up, frustrated, and that's when I saw it. In the center of my ceiling, nestled within the circular frosted glass of my light fixture, was a face. It wasn't solid, not fully, like smoke trapped behind the glass. 2 golden eyes swirling in the soft amber glow, watching. I didn't scream. I couldn't. The face blinked, not with malice, but with recognition. I climbed onto my desk chair and reached toward it. As my hand neared the glass, the light inside pulsed softly, warming my skin. It wasn't hot, just, oh, and then the light whispered, not aloud, but within my head. "You used to look for me." I froze. "What?" "I was always there." "But you stopped believing." I stared at the fixture, trying to remember, did I, as a kid, did I talk to the ceiling? To the stars on my bedroom walls? Then the face slowly vanished into the swirl of light, and all that remained was the hum. A hum that didn't come from the bulb, but from me. Chapter 8. The nightlight that wasn't mine. It showed up sometime in the afternoon. I didn't notice it at first, not until night fell. There, on the far side of the room, plugged into the outlet behind my dresser, was a nightlight, oval-shaped, plastic, with a faint image of a smiling moon painted on it. But I had never seen it before. I certainly hadn't put it there. My mom swore she hadn't either. "It must have been yours from when you were little," she said. I didn't argue, but I knew the truth. I had never owned a nightlight like that. That night I left it plugged in, unsure what else to do. It glowed softly at first, a pale amber light, not quite golden like the closets, but close. Familiar. At midnight I woke up. The light was brighter now. It pulsed, not steadily, not randomly, but in a pattern. 1 long, 2 short, 3 quick. I sat up in bed, heart racing. The same sequence again, always the same. The light flickered faster, and in its glow the room seemed to blur, edges softening, corners bending like paper warping in heat. My posters fluttered against the walls, though no window was open. My curtains lifted slightly, as though someone invisible was passing behind them. And then came the whisper. Not from the light, from the space around it. "You're starting to remember." I whispered back, "Remember what?" The glow dimmed for a breath. Then, without warning, the light surged one last time and went dark. I jumped out of bed and yanked the plug from the wall. No spark, no warmth. When I turned it over in my hands, I saw something etched into the plastic backing. My name, in handwriting that looked exactly like mine, but shakier, like it had been written by a younger version of me, a version I didn't recall ever being. Chapter 9. The lamp that knew my secrets. There was an old lamp in the attic, one of those antique glass ones with floral patterns on the shade. It used to sit in my grandmother's house, humming quietly in the corner of her reading room. After she passed, it was packed away with her other belongings. I hadn't thought about it in years. But when I got home from school that afternoon, it was in my room, plugged in, already on. Its soft golden glow painted warm shapes across my wall. The closet light hadn't shown itself that day, nor had the mirror. But this was different. This was familiar in a way that made my stomach ache. I asked my mom if she put it there. She said she didn't. That night, the glow from the lamp felt heavier than light should. Not oppressive, intimate, like it knew me. I sat cross-legged in front of it, watched the tiny flickers in the bulb. It pulsed. 1 long, 2 short, 3 quick. Of course. "I don't know what you want," I said aloud. The light didn't flicker in response. Instead, the lamp's humming got louder, only slightly, like a whisper leaning closer. Then the air shifted, the kind of shift you feel when someone walks into a room behind you. Only no one had. The shadows on the wall began to change. They bent, stretched, and in those patterns I saw words, faint, flickering. "You told me once." "Told what?" I leaned forward, the hum swelled. You told me your fear." The room pulsed with amber, and suddenly I remembered. As a child, I used to sit in my grandmother's reading room, whispering my secrets into that lamp, believing it would keep them safe. Now it had returned them, one by one, in light. Chapter 10, Light Under My Skin. It started with my hands. I was brushing my teeth when I noticed it. Just beneath the skin of my fingertips, a faint glow, faint enough to miss if I hadn't been standing under harsh bathroom lighting. At first, I thought it was just the reflection of the mirror, or maybe my eyes playing tricks after another sleepless night. But it moved. It pulsed. 1 long, 2 short, 3 quick. I pressed my fingers against the mirror. The glow brightened just slightly, like it was responding to contact. Then it faded again, like it had never been there. By the time I got to school, it had spread to my wrists, faint lines running up the veins like threads of golden electricity beneath the surface. No one else noticed, just me. I hid my hands in my pockets, kept my sleeves tugged down. In biology class, I held a pencil tightly and stared at the skin on my knuckles. The light was still there, just barely. A soft rhythm beating from inside. My notebook trembled. I flipped to a blank page and let the pencil move. I didn't guide it. It wrote, "You kept me here." I slammed the notebook shut. When I got home, I ran to the bathroom and shut the door. I peeled off my shirt. There, on my shoulders, my chest, my collarbone, the glow danced under my skin, tracing words I couldn't yet read. I reached for the mirror. The same message appeared again in the fog. "You lit the way." And for the first time, I wasn't sure if the light wanted out of me or if it wanted to stay. Chapter 11. The day I covered every bulb. I'd had enough. The glow was in me, around me, watching me, whispering to me through reflections and ceiling lights and night lights that didn't belong. So I decided one afternoon after school that I would end it, cut it off completely. I bought black electrical tape, rolls of it, took a box of trash bags from the kitchen, and for 2 hours I moved through the house methodically, sealing every source of light. I started with my bedroom. I taped the closet doors shut, sealed every sliver where the golden hue had leaked through, covered the bulbs in my lamp, my overhead light, the outlet night light. Then I moved to the bathroom. The mirror was wrapped in a towel, secured tightly with tape. Even the little indicator light on my electric toothbrush was blacked out. When I finished, I stood in the middle of my darkened room, breathing heavily. It felt like I had built a barrier, like I was finally in control. Until the fume started. Low at first, then rising. Not from a bulb, from beneath me. I knelt to the floor and pressed my ear to the wooden boards. A dull vibration, a flicker. I pulled up the corner of my rug. There, just under the surface of the floorboards, was a pulse, a glow. 1 long, 2 short, 3 quick. Had found another way. Panicked, I ran to the circuit breaker in the basement. My fingers trembled as I flipped the main power switch. Everything died. The fridge groaned to a halt. The hallway went dark. The fume vanished. I stood there in silence, Then from behind me, a soft voice. "You can cover the bulbs." The glow returned. "But you can't cover me." Chapter 12. The Flash That Froze Time. It happened at exactly 2:41 a.m. I know because the moment it did, the second hand on my alarm clock froze. Not slowed, not stuttered, froze. 1 second before the flash, I had been drifting in and out of sleep. The room was darker than usual. Taped up bulbs, covered mirrors, the closet barricaded. I had done everything I could to shut it out. And still the flash came. A burst of golden light, blinding and soundless. It exploded across my ceiling like lightning caught in a jar. It wasn't electrical. It wasn't natural. It didn't come from a source I could see. It just was. I sat up immediately. My whole body was buzzing, not from adrenaline, but from the flash itself, like it had touched every cell. That's when I saw the clock. 2:41 a.m. Frozen. I picked up my phone to check the time there. It wouldn't turn on. I tried to stand, but my legs felt heavy, as if the flash had thickened the air, slowed the world. And then I noticed something else. Outside my window, everything was still. Trees unmoving, no wind. A cat mid-leap across a fence, completely suspended. A hummingbird hovering by a flower, its wings caught mid-beat. Time had stopped, except for me. And the glow. I turned to the center of my room. Hovering a few feet above the floor was a single orb of golden light, slowly pulsing. 1 long, 2 short, 3 quick. It wasn't coming from the closet. It wasn't coming from inside me. It was something else. Something older. Something waiting. And for the first time, I understood. This wasn't just about the light staying on. It was about what they were trying to show me, when everything else stopped looking. Chapter 13. I turned off the power, but it stayed on. After the flash, I stayed awake till morning. Even when the sun came up, the light in my room didn't feel right. It wasn't sunlight that touched my walls, it was something warmer, stranger. The kind of light that made shadows look misplaced. So I did what I hadn't dared before. I went down to the basement again and shut off the main power. Not just the bedroom breaker, not just the lights. Everything. No hum from the fridge. No light from the hallway nightlight. No LED on the TV. Darkness. Except my room was still lit. I walked up the stairs slowly. Each step felt heavier than the last. When I opened the bedroom door, the closet was glowing. Not just underneath, but through the cracks in the wood, as if the light had swollen inside, looking for a way out. I stepped inside, and what I saw wasn't possible. Inside the closet was a world of light, floating, shifting filaments of amber, suspended like jellyfish in a golden ocean. My old toys sat untouched on the floor, but above them light hung like memory, like it had always lived there. In the center of it all, my old drawings, pinned to the back wall, faded with time. Drawings of light, of orbs, of symbols, of the same blinking pattern. 1 long, 2 short, 3 quick. I gasped because I had drawn them years ago, before anything ever glowed. I backed out of the closet, heart pounding. The light followed me. It moved, not quickly, not threateningly, but deliberately, like it knew the rules didn't apply anymore. I turned toward the hallway, hoping the darkness there would stop it. It didn't, because now the glow wasn't using the electricity. It was using me. Chapter 14. The House That Refused the Dark. The moment I stepped out of my room, I knew something had changed. The hallway lights, still unplugged, bulbs still missing, were glowing, dimly, steadily, like they had never been touched. I walked slowly, checking each fixture. No wiring, no power. But every bulb hummed with the same familiar amber glow. Downstairs, the kitchen lights were on, the fridge light, even the microwave clock was lit up, flashing 2:41. The same moment time had stopped. I checked the breaker, still off. I flipped it back on and watched nothing change. Because now the house had a different source. It no longer needed the grid. It had me. I sat on the living room couch trying to think. Every bulb, every appliance, even the street lamp outside the front window had that faint golden tint now, like the glow had spilled out and stained everything it touched. I stood up and walked slowly through the house, touching surfaces, testing door handles. Everything buzzed faintly beneath my fingers. My fingertips tingled. The wooden table in the dining room radiated warmth, not heat, but memory. I touched the spot where I once carved my initials as a kid, and I swear I heard laughter. Mine! From another time. I went upstairs, into my mom's room. She was asleep, peaceful, unaware. But in her reflection in the mirror, I saw it. Small golden threads glowing beneath her skin like veins of light. It had found her too. Maybe it had always been in us. I stood there for a long time, watching her breathe, remembering all the times she sat beside me in the dark when I was little, afraid of monsters in the closet. I realize now, it wasn't the dark I was ever afraid of. It was being left alone in the dark, and now the light wouldn't allow that. I ran to the attic, to the boxes of old drawings and family photos. I pulled out an album and flipped through pages. There, an old photo of me as a baby, held in my mother's arms. A golden shimmer at the edge of the frame. Another photo, my grandmother standing near her old reading lamp. A faint flicker in the corner. This light wasn't new. It had just been waiting for me to remember. And now the house remembered too. The walls pulsed with the rhythm. One long, two short, three quick, again and again, like a heartbeat beneath plaster. I walked down to the basement, not to escape it, but to understand it. As I descended, the light followed, not like a shadow, but like a tether, gentle, firm. It wasn't trying to trap me. It was showing me I belonged. Because it wasn't just a home anymore. It was a vessel for the glow that refused to go dark. And now so was I. Chapter 15. The switch I finally pulled. There was only one place left. Behind the panel in the basement, behind the water heater, there was an old breaker box my grandfather had installed decades ago. It hadn't been used in years, but I remembered it. A rusted, forgotten switch tucked into darkness no one visited anymore. I waited until nightfall. By then, the house wasn't glowing anymore. It was radiating. The walls pulsed. The doorknobs were warm. Every light bulb had long since melted its glass, but the filaments still floated, suspended in gold. My mom didn't notice. She moved through it like it was normal, like she'd been absorbed. I hadn't seen my own reflection in days. Not in mirrors, not in glass, only light. I made my way down the creaking stairs, my skin humming with current. My breath felt charged. The deeper I went, the heavier it became, like the light was pressing down from within me. I reached the wall and pulled it open. There it was, that old switch, tarnished, covered in dust. I placed my hand on it. The house whispered, "Well, leave me now." It wasn't threatening. It sounded afraid. I swallowed hard. "I need to know who I am without you." I closed my eyes and pulled the switch, and everything went black. Not darkness, stillness. No sound, no hum, no glow, just silence. But in that silence, I found something else. My heartbeat, my breath. For the first time in weeks, I heard myself, felt myself, not illuminated, not powered, not guided, just alive. I stood there in the basement for a long time, letting the quiet wrap around me. It was heavy, but not in the way the light had been. This was the weight of being. When I finally turned, the staircase was steep, but my feet felt light. Each step I climbed brought back a memory, a true one. My mom tucking me in, the sound of rain on the roof, the smell of popcorn on movie nights, not glowing, not surreal, just real. I reached the kitchen. My mom was sitting at the table. The lamps were off, the windows were open. A breeze moved the curtains gently, and she smiled at me, like it was morning again. Because it was. I sat across from her. We didn't speak. We didn't need to. And for the first time, I felt like I belonged to the world again. Not to the glow, not to the rhythm. And outside, beyond the trees, the sun was rising. Soft, honest, empowered, because I had pulled the switch and the lights had finally turned off.